Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can continue with the glorious pastimes of in Canto 8, Chapter 10. So, Bhagavatam has everything. Now, the next two chapters are all about a good fist fight, or more than a fist fight, in fact, between the devatas and the demigods. So, let's go through the chapters. So this is the first verse I'd like to do. It's probably right at the end of the chapter.
Tasmin pravista sarakuta karmaja maya vineshu mahina mahiyasha swapno yatha hi pratibodhagate hari smriti sarva vipavimokshanam. As the dangers of a dream cease when the dreamer awakens, the illusions created by the jugglery of the demons were vanquished by the transcendental prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as soon as he entered the battlefield. Indeed, simply by remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from all dangers.
So this world is full of dangers, right? What does the Bhagavad Gita say? Shashwatam, Ashwashwatam. Now, what was it?
Dukhalyam.
Dukhalayam Ashwashwatam. This world is full of miseries, Dukhalayam, and it's temporary. So this is a very nice verse. We are constantly in danger. So actually, we should be constantly remembering the Supreme Lord. So, and especially nowadays, so many crazy things happening with these different viruses going around. So let's have a look at this chapter. Chapter 10 is the battle between the demigods and the demons. Because of envy, the fight between the demons and the demigods continued. When the demigods were almost defeated by demoniac maneuvers and became morose, Lord Vishnu appeared among them. So that's a summary. And let's see what the detail says. Both the demigods and the demons are expert in activities involving the material energy. But the demigods are devotees of the Lord, whereas the demons are just the opposite. The demigods and demons churned the ocean of milk to get nectar from it, as we know. And the demons, not being devotees of the Lord, could derive no profit. After feeding nectar through the demigods, Lord Vishnu, or Mohini Murti, returned to his abode on the back of Garud. But the demons, being most aggrieved, again declared war against the demigods. Thus a fierce battle on the beach of the ocean of milk ensued. The fighting took place between equals. Charioteers fought with opposing charioteers, the infantry soldiers with the opposing infantry. Some soldiers fought on the back of camels, some on the back of elephants, some on the back of asses, some on white-faced and red-faced monkeys, some on tigers, some on lions. Some soldiers fought on the back of vultures and other birds, some on huge fishes, some on animals such as bulls, some on lizards, etc. Quite an extraordinary fight. Bali Maharaj, he was the commander-in-chief of the demons. He was also the son of Virochan. He was seated on a wonderful aeroplane, which was actually inconceivable. It was made by Vishwakarma, I think. Or was it Maya Dhanav, yeah. Sometimes it was visible, sometimes invisible. So he was in a privileged place. So what happened? Lord Indra, he was sitting on Airavat, and the elephant, who can go anywhere, and who holds water and wine in reserve for showering. Surrounding Lord Indra, King of Heaven, were the demigods seated on various types of vehicles and decorated with flags and weapons. Present among them was Vayu, Agni, Varun, and other rulers and devatas. The demigods and demons came before each other and reproached one another with words piercing to the heart. Then they drew near and began fighting face to face in pairs. Indra, king of heaven, fought with Bali, Surya with the 100 sons of Bali, and the other demigods like Vayu, Agni, Varun fought against leaders of the demons. They severed one another's heads using various weapons. The soldiers slashed each other to pieces. Their necks, thighs, legs, arms, armor, and ornaments were torn apart. Due to the trampling of both parties, dust rolls violently in all directions, covering the outer space with a dust cloud. Later, because of the blood that sprinkled down and sprayed up as far as the sun, the dust cloud could no longer float. So it was a pretty gruesome scene. The field became strewn with severed heads, arms, etc., and many ghostly headless trunks, which could see with their eyes in the fallen heads, attacked the enemy soldiers. So in this fight, the demons were being defeated, as all the weapons thrown by Bali were cut to pieces by Indra. And to save themselves from death, Bali began to manifest many illusions through material maneuvers, killing many soldiers on the side of the demigods. Blazing trees and stone chips fell from the sky, smashed the demigods. Scorpions, large snakes, and many other poisonous animals, as well as lions and tigers, boars, and great elephants, all began falling upon the demigod soldiers, crushing everything. Fire and water fell upon the demigods, who became morose. So although they'd drunk this nectar of immortality, it didn't make them immune from defeat. The demons were very powerful. This is the nature of this world. Just when we think we're immune because we've got so much wealth, friends, relatives, nice houses, nice cars, but actually we're never safe, not in this world. The demigods, finding no other recourse, surrendered again to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who then appeared. So that's the verse that we read right at the beginning. Vishnu then appeared sitting on Garud with 8 weapons in his 8 hands. The Supreme Lord counteracted all the illusions presented by the jugglery of the demons. Heroes among the demons, such as Kalameni, Nemi, Mali, Sumali, and Malyavan, fought the Supreme Personality of Godhead and were all killed by the Lord. The demigods were thus freed from all dangers. So that was a nice big punch-up between the demigods and the demons. And of course, the Lord always comes and protects. If the demons prayed to him, he would protect them, but they don't. The demigods pray to the Supreme Lord, and he comes and protects. He's equal to all. Any questions, any comments?
Prabhuji?
Yes, Naniman.
Yes. What was the reason for the churning and getting the nectar out if it did give them and all the
Yeah, that's a good question. It was actually the Lord wanted to perform wonderful pastimes, hence why 6 incarnations came and participated in this phenomenal pastime. I don't think there's any other pastime where so many incarnations come at the same time. And the Lord, why does he do these things? Actually, he does it for us. He doesn't do it for the demigods. He doesn't do it for the nectar for the demigods. He does it so that when we remember these pastimes, we get this nectar of immortality because we are associating with the Lord through these pastimes. So the reason he did this was simply to allow us to remember these glorious pastimes. That's the fundamental reason behind the Lord's pastimes.
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, because the nectar, well, he didn't do them much good because they still got defeated. It's the nature of this world, right? It's the nature of this world. If we're looking for some long-lasting solving problem here, it's just not going to happen. No matter how much nectar we try to find or look for, it's not going to help us in this world.
I think that is the lesson.
That's the lesson.
Yes, and no amount of nectar is going to save us.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, Haribol, Naveen,
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah, as we're reading through this and we realize the importance of the real nectar that we should be really after,
Mm.
which is really the Harinam and Mahamantra and Guru's mercy. And
Mm.
Krishna, I just wanted to say, my daughter is here, so she said if the a few minutes toward the end after you've done this, so anybody wants to ask anything about Rahu
Mm.
and Ketu or something, she can come on and I'll give her the phone. And anybody wants to ask any questions, she can say a little bit more.
Yeah, that's good.
So
What
after
we
you've
do,
done number 11 and all that, then
yeah, we
for a
can
few
say
minutes.
we can sail through 11 because it's more of the same, you know.
Yeah, no, it is actually, yeah. But you finish 11 and then I'll
Yeah,
ask her and then she can come.
yeah, that sounds
And
like
if anybody's got anything on their mind or if they want to ask them,
okay.
and she
That's
can elaborate a bit more on Rocket, whatever she's. Okay.
yeah, good, good, good. Okay, let's zoom through this chapter 11, text 44.
Srinad Uvacha Avadviramritam Praptam Narayana Pujashraya Shriya Samadhita Sarva Upamrit Mata Vigrahat. The great sage Narad said, all of you demigods are protected by the arms of Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his grace, you have gotten the nectar. By the grace of the goddess of fortune, you are glorious in every way. Therefore, please stop this fighting.
That's towards the end of the chapter. Chapter is called King Indra Annihilates the Demons. So Narad Muni again, he was very compassionate to everybody and to the demons as well, who'd been killed by the demigods. So he forbade the demigods from continuing the killing. And Sukracharya, he actually brought all the demons back to life again. So what happened in this chapter? Having been graced by the Supreme Personality, the demigods began fighting the demons again with renewed energy. Bali came before Indra, who chastised Bali with his thunderbolt. No, actually that's happened a little bit later. I should have just taken that sentence off. So Bali Maharaj actually said to Indra, you are jubilant, right? Because Indra first said to Bali that we will conquer you very, very easily. And there was a big I and mine in the words of Bali, in words of Indra. So Bali Maharaj, he counteracted it. He said, because you are jubilant due to your victory, you should be considered not very learned. You're not very smart. You demigods think that you yourselves are the cause of your attaining fame and victory. Because of your ignorance, saintly people feel sorry for you. These are quite sharp words from a very learned demon. So the lesson is one who is undisturbed by so-called favorable and unfavorable circumstances of the material world is self-situated, right? Because he's not disturbed. Whether it's good or bad, he's still the same because he knows this material condition is temporary and we are the spirit soul, which is eternally connected with the Supreme. A devotee carries out one's duties in Krishna consciousness and is never unhappy in awkward situations. Devotees have full faith that in such circumstances, Krishna will protect them. So then the fight started. Indra did not mind Bali's rebukes because they were truthful. Indra released his thunderbolt against Bali, who fell from his aeroplane. When Bali fell, his friend Jambashur attacked Indra and Airavat. Being beaten by Jambashur's club, Indra's elephant was confused and aggrieved. Thus, it touched its knees to the ground and fell unconscious. Matali, Indra's chariot driver, he's very famous actually. He brought Indra's chariot, which was drawn by 1,000 horses. Can you imagine this chariot? Indra then left the elephant and got onto the chariot and he cut off Jambasura's head with his thunderbolt. Powerful. When Narad Muni learned that Jambasura had been killed, he informed Jambasura's relatives, Namuchi, Bala, and Pak, who then came to the battlefield and attacked the demigods. Bala put all of Indra's 1,000 horses into tribulation by simultaneously piercing them with an equal number of arrows. So he destroyed all the horses. And Paka, he attacked both the chariot with his paraphernalia and the chariot driver, Matali, by fitting 2,000 arrows to his bow and releasing them all at the same time. Namuchi, he attacked Indra and injured him with 15 very powerful golden feathered arrows, which roared like a cloud full of water. It was quite a fight. And then other demons, they covered Indra along with his chariot and chariot driver with incessant showers of arrows, such as clouds cover the sun in the rainy season. Then Indra, he actually fought back. He was covered completely with these arrows and everything, but he was unstoppable. He severed the heads of Bala and Paka, released the weapon known as Kulasi, the thunderbolt, against Namuchi's shoulder. But this thunderbolt didn't work, and he became morose, because this thunderbolt actually is almost undefeatable. At that time, an unseen voice from the sky said, "A dry or wet weapon cannot kill Namuchi." So then Indra began to think, how can I kill Namuchi? And then he thought of a weapon made of foam, which is neither moist nor dry. And he used this foam weapon, and in that way he killed Namuchi. In this way, Indra and the demigods, they killed a lot of the demons. Oh, okay, that's wrong. Anyway. Then at the request of Brahma, Narad went to the demigods and he forbade them to kill the demons anymore. All the demigods, they listened to Narad. They returned to their abodes. Following the instructions of Narad, whatever demons remained alive on the battlefield took Bali to Ashta mountain. There, by the touch of Shukracharya's hand, Bali Maharaj regained his senses and consciousness. And those demons whose heads and bodies had not been completely lost were brought back to life by the mystic power of Shukracharya. When he regained his senses and memory by the grace of Shukracharya, he could understand everything that had happened. Therefore, although he had been defeated, he did not lament. So this is the glory of Bali Maharaj. Being a devotee, Bali knew that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So sometimes we may be in this situation where we're completely defeated, humiliated and destroyed. But like Bali, he knew nothing can happen without the sanction of the Lord. So let it be. So he accepted defeat without lamentation. Everyone must execute one's duty as ordained by Krishna or ordered by the Guru, without regard for defeat or victory. So chapter 11 ki jai. So shall we knock out the lessons quickly? Indulekamaji.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Okay.
We have some uninvited guests, so I cannot. I'm moving into the room.
Atiti.
Yes.
Atiti.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Canto 8, lesson from Canto 8. Chapter 1, if we want to listen to the pastimes of the Lord to perfect this human life, we should inquire submissively from a bona fide spiritual master and carry out their instruction dutifully. Chapter 2, we are all living in the delusion that our wealth and family members will save us at the time of danger, but actually only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can reach to us at all times. Chapter 3, our ultimate goal of life is to understand that we are all caught up by the eternal time, and we may die at any moment. So we should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can save us from the struggle of this material world. Chapter 4, if ever we are cursed by great personalities, we should accept it as blessing in disguise, because at the end, the outcome are very beneficial. Chapter 5, in this material world, possessing too much wealth is risky because one may become puffed up and may not care about others. Thus, one may commit offenses and may fall down. Chapter 6, it is nice to welcome others to our place, even if they are not our friends. We should try to know their intention, as it could be for our own good. Chapter 7, at times we are not happy with what comes our way, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, but the Lord has his own plan for us. Chapter 8, sometimes we may think that we are the controller of our lives, but we are controlled by desires. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a true controller. Isvara Parama Krishna. The Supreme Controller is Krishna. Can you move a little bit higher, Prabhuji? For 9, chapter 9.
No, we can't. Sorry.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's where it is.
Okay. The Lord always protects his devotees, even though both devotees and non-devotees are performing the same activities in the same field, but the devotees achieve better result at the end.
Brilliant.
Is that it? Is
Yeah,
that it?
good. Very good.
Because I just said it, I cannot see it properly.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Madhusun Prabhu? Thank you for the invite. And yes, it will be a pleasure.
Sorry, Haribol, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, good. Okay, it's a short instruction, but you put both the chapters together really, because it's much of the same. I thought Kurukshetra was a battle of the battles, or something, or a war, but this was something totally different, with all the demons, demigods, arms and legs and torsos, and this it's just, plus all the illusory bits, in the fighting, and how they were using all these material illusions and all that. But anyway, so in this chapter, when Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned the purport, the fighting between the demons and the demigods is perpetual. It cannot be stopped unless intelligent persons on both sides take to Krishna consciousness. So it seems this is the situation in the material creation forever. It just goes on like that. And only individually, just we have to be intelligent, become Krishna conscious, and stop the wars kind of within, and then go back home. Like, we got to make our own plans, not based on what's going on in this material world, which is always going to carry on as it is anyway. Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, go for it.
Okay, I'll give my phone to my daughter. Get out of the. Can you hear me? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it to my daughter here, and then you can.
Hare Krishna. I won't keep you too long. Well, hi everyone. I won't keep you too long. I just know my father was explaining sort of where you're at in the chapter. And so he was just sort of explaining about the demon Swabhanu. So I just thought, if you wanted, I could explain more about Rahu and Ketu if anyone was interested.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yes. So obviously, as you've been reading, I think you're a little bit further on in the chapter now. But if you go, mentally go back, it's the demon Swabhanu who disguised himself as a demigod to take the nectar, and obviously, his head was cut off, and so the two parts of this demon then become Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu is the head without the body, and Ketu is the body without the head. So then what happens in terms of, see, because I'm studying astrology at the moment, and so obviously there are 9 main grahas, which means bodies, basically. And 2 of those are Rahu and Ketu, that influence the material world and influence us and our karma, like the playing out of our karma, our experiences in the world, our desires in the world. So Rahu and Ketu have a really important role within our lives, quite personally, indirectly, because we don't realize it's Rahu and Ketu. But Rahu being a bodiless form, actually, you know, they don't have a physical form, so they're not considered like a planet, but obviously because he doesn't have a body, the nature of Rahu is constant unsatisfaction. So when Rahu, and see, everyone has Rahu and Ketu in their astrological chart. Everyone has all 9 grahas in their astrological chart. It just depends on where each are placed, and that will create, you know, unfold your karma and unfold your personality. But Rahu is the character, has the characteristic of complete unsatisfaction and obsession. And he's the shadowy planet. He's basically delusion, right? So anything that you see in this world that or experience in this world, or even yourselves, where you experience some, you know, like obsession or negative habits, addictions, unsatisfied desires, that's that Rahu energy. That's that Rahu energy. And obviously it can be better placed in certain houses and with certain other, you know, better planets kind of controlling it. But you know, Rahu combined with other grahas like Mars, Mangal, or, you know, Shani, can create the murderers, the, you know, really terrible personalities, people that, you know, demoniacs, basically demons in this world that we can see today. So that kind of element of being demoniac we see in this world is influenced by Rahu. And Ketu then is the headless body, and he, sorry, I should say Rahu is unsatisfied because he doesn't have a stomach, right? So Rahu constantly eats and sort of absorbs material energy because he doesn't have a stomach. He's never satisfied. So that's why there's that quality of obsession and just never satisfied. So then Ketu is the headless body, and that sort of represents some, you know, a quality of a person who doesn't really think, yeah, sort of almost kind of walking around in this world not really knowing who they are, but in one sense kind of pretending to know who they are. And Ketu is illusion, but also see, Ketu actually is spiritual. So wherever Ketu is placed in someone's chart, it can actually give quite spiritual qualities, as well as sort of a confused character as well, and also detachment, right? Because Ketu can just make somebody, wherever Ketu is placed or aspects in someone's astrological chart, can make someone very detached from that aspect. So again, it's that spiritual element. The reason why Ketu is spiritual is because he is the other body part of the head that didn't get the nectar. So Ketu is always searching for that immortality. Ketu is always searching and trying to pursue spiritual life, which is, so that's why, you know, Ketu in certain houses can actually delineate moksha, like liberation from the material world. So there are some special placements that Ketu can have in someone's chart that will give them liberation. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that I can say. I don't want to ramble too much, but if anyone has any questions, then I can share. No, I think that's
Okay. Just a quick question for me. So if like for Rahu, to stop the influence of Rahu, is there something that you can do to counteract that? And also, does this influence last, until it's been counteracted? Because like, for Shani, they say, it lasts for 7 years or something, isn't it? Like the Panoti for 7 years. So again, with Rahu, is it a similar concept?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Yes, so each graha has their maturity time point. So there's a certain age that you will get to where that planet actually becomes more mature and starts to calm down.
Okay.
So for Shani, it's the age of 36. So if someone has like a heavy placement of Shani, then at the age of 36, it will calm down and give better results. For Rahu, it's the age of 46. No, sorry, 45, excuse me, and Ketu 44. So around that age, they will start to get better. But in terms of remedies and sort of, making taming or calming Rahu down, or obviously there are always going to be certain yogyas, right, that astrologers can do, or they'll offer gemstones, or they'll offer, mantras, like, reciting or chanting the mantras of Varaha there, for example, because he's a presiding deity of Rahu. But in terms of, bhakti and devotion to Krishna, ultimately, in the ultimate sense, if we can really get to that point where actually we just have a single pointed devotion to Krishna, that is best. That really is best, because we can do all these kinds of worships and prayers, and and actually it is more distracting to our bhakti. So the best way really is to really be what's the word, self-observant, and work on these traits. Like if you have certain addictive habits or habitual patterns or obsessions, and it really depends on how and where Rahu is placed, because some placements and aspects from other planets on Rahu, like I said, can create a murderer. Some aspects of Rahu and placements of Rahu can actually create immense wealth and success in life, which isn't a bad thing, because if we didn't have Rahu, we wouldn't have technology, we wouldn't have certain races in the world. So Rahu isn't bad, Ketu isn't bad. We need them, but it's how we learn to evolve ourselves spiritually through the negative impact of these grahas. And that is the best way really to get the most out of any astrological placement, whether it's a bad placement of Rahu or Shani. It's actually to see, okay, how is this astrological placement, this planet, teaching me to evolve spiritually? Because they actually are the real purpose of all the grahas, whether it's Brihaspati, Guru, Jupiter, or Rahu. They're all trying to actually push us to spirituality. Rahu will do that through your desires. So yes, increase your desires, increase your material desires. Yes, you want wealth, you want to be the emperor of the world, you want to be the king, you want to have all this money, these cars and women or men, whatever it is, and have it until you get so exhausted that you realize that there's no enjoyment actually in the material world. That's actually the purpose. So if we can transform it in that way, then that's the best. But if Rahu is really causing a problem then in someone's life, and they're not at the position of just doing single pointed devotion to Krishna, then getting a good astrologer to do maybe some yagya can work, can help.
Thank you for that. Okay,
that's all right. Okay, thank you
Anybody
so much for
else?
letting me join.
Indulekha. Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you for this clarification. Nicely explained. So I was reading the Rahu and Ketu. They are not the same. They are two different, right?
They are two separate grahas. bodies.
No, yeah, okay, because last time when we were talking about it, we were thinking that when his head was cut off, so his head was called Rahu and the body was called Ketu. So that is not the thing actually, because it is said in the Bhagavatam, it is said that when the head was severed from the body died. So that's why I saw in the Bhagavatam itself. So thank you. And then I don't know.
Yes, because Ketu's a ghost, you see.
Okay. So yeah, if I have like private question or personal question, can I contact you, please?
Yeah, sure, certainly. I mean, I will just do a disclaimer, which is that I'm a student of astrology, a very baby student of astrology. So I'm happy to answer any question or signpost you, or answer any question. That's fine. You can just ask my dad for my number, or
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Take care, Harimal.
Hare Krishna.